As a rideshare driver, our job is generally to take a passenger from point A to point B. However, for my drivers out there, my veteran drivers, have you ever showed up to the pickup location and had a customer simply ask you to deliver a package? No human cargo, just simply a package. Well, here's the scam. There is a scam using money owed to the police or lawyers, and they're coming to collect it via Uber or Lyft. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Here is the way this scam works, and it is crazy that in 2023, nearly 30 years after the internet became rather normal in this country, that people are still falling for this stuff. But I will give you the gist of how this scam works and how it ties into us rideshare drivers. You get a phone call, and it on the other end is someone telling you that a loved one, a relative, has either been locked up in need of bail money or incapacitated in some hospital, and it requires money for surgery, money for healthcare, or something of that nature, and your name is on the list. Now, obviously, I'm bringing this to you because there are people that fall for it. Indeed, here is the actual article. Scam using money owed and police or lawyers coming to collect via Uber or Lyft. So the way it works is the scam artist on the phone with the victim is telling the victim that, we need you to go and withdraw generally a few $100s to a few $1,000s in funds. This person needs bail money. Go withdraw a certain amount of money to pay for your friend to get out of police custody. Now, it's in cash, which that should be the first red flag. Never do any business with anyone in cash unless it's face-to-face, where you can get a receipt, where you can get some form of a contract signed or something. Never do business with someone in cash where you send the money and you get nothing until they send something back to you, for the obvious reason. They don't have to send anything back. But anyhow, they want you to take cash out of the bank, put it in some form of a disguised envelope, packaging, or whatever. And they literally send a rideshare driver, an Uber or Lyft driver, to your location to pick up the money, take it back to them, and supposedly your loved one or friend will then be released from custody or receive the health care you are paying for. People are actually falling for this in 2023, to the point where Cape Coral, Florida police are releasing this very statement that I'm giving you now, or something to that effect, because this is one of the areas down in Florida, Cape Coral, Florida, where they're having a problem with this. Now, obviously, this is most likely something that you would use to prey upon the elderly for two reasons. They generally have more income, and they have less knowledge when it comes to navigating internet scams. But like I stated in the beginning of the video, the internet's been around for 30 years. These scams are pretty damn old at this point. So even if you are a retiree, you gotta darn near be 90 to say that back in my day, we didn't use the internet at work. I mean, the internet's been around since the early 90s. I go back to the Commodore VIC-20 days myself, telling you my age. So I've seen the invention of the internet. And these scams were around from day one. Back in the 56K dial-up days. These scams came out immediately. So how people could be falling for this 30 years later is just outrageously unbelievable. But I'm going to give you the tips that the law enforcement officials are providing to help avoid falling victim to this stuff, which to some degree should be self-explanatory. Number one, if you get a call from someone posing as law enforcement or posing as a law firm saying that your loved one or your friend needs some type of money for bail or for legal assistance or for health care, call the actual place that your person of interest is allegedly being held. You can call a hospital, and find out if they have somebody in there that fits the narrative of your friend. You can certainly call the local penal institution or the local county jail and find out if your loved one has been incarcerated. So hang up the phone with them and then make the phone calls. And obviously, try to track down your damn friend they're talking about to begin with. Your friend or your loved one that's supposedly the subject of the phone call. Try to call them yourself. That's generally how these scams are broken up. The person calls the loved one or calls their friend, and the person is like, I'm sitting down at Wendy's having a hamburger. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So always do not let things stop at the phone calls. Crazy you got to get this advice out in 2023, but hang up, call the actually individual, tell them if you want, if you're afraid of losing contact and you think it's serious, listen, I gotta do something real quick to get the money. Can you call me back in 10 minutes? And during those 10 minutes, make the phone call and check on your loved one via the methods I just stated. Next, as I said earlier in the video, do not do anything in cash. I don't care if it's helping out a loved one, a friend, or even buying a car. If you're not getting something at the point of sale, do not involve yourself in the transaction. You want a receipt, you want to be signing a contract, and you want to be receiving goods or services. Meaning if you pay bail to get your loved one out of incarceration, you should be handing it to somebody wearing a badge, and you should be at the facility in which they are incarcerated. Sending money that you have to disguise in a box or an envelope through a rideshare driver, it doesn't matter what year you were born in America. We have never conducted business in that manner. I hate to come across as reprimanding the victim or blaming the victim for falling for a scam, but at some point people will suggest if you're dumb enough to believe this stuff, dumb enough to fall for this, maybe you deserve to be scammed. As my late mom used to say, a fool and his money soon shall part. How could you send raw cash to a source you've never met with a driver you do not know? As a rideshare driver, veteran rideshare driver, been in the business darn near 10 years, I don't know if I would be reliable at 70 to 80 cents a mile, which is what they pay us Uber and Lyft drivers, to transport your $10,000 or $15,000 in cash from point A to point B. I just want to point that out, that even if you actually believed the individual on the phone was helping you get health care or freedom for your loved one, the fact that there is an unknown rideshare driver in the middle leaves you a second point of contact to get scammed. Because the rideshare driver is taking your money from point A to point B, and the person you're on the phone with could easily say the money never arrived. I think the driver stole your cash. We really want to get your loved one out of jail. You're going to have to go and resend the money. This could literally go on and on and on again. So understand that the rideshare drivers are also strapped for cash. You're going to put $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in the hands of a guy that's making $100 to $200 a day? Think about that as well. Last but not least, contact the police. That is what the police are encouraging you to do. And obviously yours truly, I would say the same thing, that if you get something that sounds odd like this, in addition to just hanging up the phone and telling the person to go to hell, you also would want to know, how did they get my name, number, and potentially the names of your loved one? How did they get this information? So you might want to notify authorities just in case you end up having a second call or some other future contact from this person. I mean, they could have picked your name out of a hat, but then again, this could also be somebody where you've been a victim of identity theft and they're using parts of your life to interact and try to scam you. So I just wanted to bring this by you. I tend to bring scams that involve us rideshare drivers, whether we're on the scam side of it or the victim side of it. Nevertheless, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. As always, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping these videos, and have a good day.